Hi, everybody. I think this particular Regina's Cantina podcast is going to be a little controversial for some of you. I say this because after I decided to do it, I ran it by a couple of people and they struggled with it a bit, and I can understand that. But all the more reason to share with you the notion of it being almost an obligation to enjoy what you do have in life. And so let me start from the beginning. I was having a conversation with my friend Anna, and she was saying that she didn't feel connected, and that she was feeling like no matter where she turned, there were so many problems that she couldn't enjoy life. And so I started talking to her, and I said, and I think she felt at the time it was a little insensitive of me to say so, I said, but are those things happening in your life? Are they happening in your neighborhood, at your workplace, among your friends? And she said, no, they're not. But everywhere you turn, every article you read, every time you turn on the television, it shows you the disparity of what's going on in the world, including destruction of the environment. And we started talking about it was a comedy show. She's British, and there's a comedy show called Tracy Ullman's Show. In one of her skits, she's a therapist for millennials who are woke, right? And as a result of that, their lives are miserable. None of them can enjoy life. And this is a therapy group to help the woke generation enjoy life a little bit, disconnect from all of the political activism and so forth. And I think partly because it's this time of year where gifting and joy is part of the year, I felt more inspired to continue the conversation with Anna. And basically what I said, and this goes back to another podcast I did quite a long time ago, earlier last year, that had to do with the notion that there is no soul who's forced to incarnate on this planet. No soul. This is a choice. It's not an obligation. And so starting from that point, which I did in my conversation with her, I said, if you take into consideration that this may be true, that if we incarnate, we choose the circumstance, we choose the tribe, we choose the geographical location to which we're going to incarnate for our own purposes. Now, if I look back on it, I've had the chance to go into many, many past lifetime experiences. At least that's how I perceive them. They're as real as it is me sitting here today, if not more real, in my experience of them. So I'll say they're my past life experiences. And as I've done so, there have been some really tragic circumstances. I have been all of the things. Most of us have been all things. We know poverty. We know abuse. We know plenty. We know creativity. We know absolute suppression, oppression, especially women in particular, if you've been incarnating dominantly female. So looking at it from this perspective, I said, because she brought up, she had been to Haiti and done this wonderful thing, going with Doctors Without Borders to do dental work on people high up in some of the hill tribes, and just absolutely loving the work and seeing what poverty brings in terms of the ability to take care of oneself, which is very sad. She was able to go in and help people, take some beautiful photographs, and loved the experience, but couldn't shake from her the fact that there is such poverty in the world, right? And she's done this, she's traveled to many, many places, beautiful photographer. And we were talking about that. She said, but how can we sit and enjoy this meal when these people have so little? And so I brought up the notion that, Anna, maybe for this incarnation, that is the reality. And that is the reality that was essentially chosen. And I'm not saying that the way our lives play out is all predestined. I don't believe that. I do believe every single moment is a choice point, no matter who you are, where you've chosen to incarnate in this given time. And I said, Anna, if that is the reality for the people who have chosen to incarnate there, is it your responsibility or even desirable on a soul level, on an emotional level, spiritual level, for you to suffer the consequence of that in your own life here in California, where you actually lead a very lovely life, a lovely little home, great group of friends, super artistic life of a photographer, as well as dental hygienist for the day job, of course. And I said, I don't think that it's our obligation to have to suffer. Now, that said, I said, look, you went and you helped them. You helped improve the dental health of this particular tribe of people. I said, we all can contribute in our own way. And my way happens to be all of the people that have been left stranded in the fire just 80 miles or so from my house here. They need resources. They need money. They need blankets. They need sheets. And our community has really come together to pitch in what we can. But we can't heal the whole situation. There are a lot of people who are living in tents and are homeless there still. A lot of people. And that's how they're going to spend the holiday season. And you look at it, and that is tragic. Did they choose that? No. We could get into a lot of different subjects there about how that fire happened, why, and so forth. They didn't choose that. It's a circumstance that has occurred in their lives that is tragic, because most of them have lost everything of a physical nature. So I help where I can. Other people are helping where they can. But is it my obligation as a result of that to suffer side by side when that is simply not the reality that the rest of us are living in at this moment? I believe, truly believe, that our soul, our guiding forces, all of the beautiful beings, angels surrounding us, their greatest joy is for us to find our own moments of joy. And we have to be authentic in that. And I think a lot of times what happens is we're worried about how we're going to be perceived by others. We're worried we're not politically correct enough. So beyond doing what we can do, we feel this need to continue to suffer because the world is suffering in a lot of places. Okay. And the environment is suffering in a lot of places. Again, we have the ability to pitch in and do what we can where we can. But once we've done that, do we have an obligation to continue personally suffering? I don't believe we do. I believe we owe it to any given incarnation to find as much creativity, passion, and joy in our lives as we can. You don't have any guarantees that you're going to have that opportunity in the future, in another incarnation, right? Even though, yes, life goes on, we go on. I believe in the cycle of life and incarnation and reincarnation. Every single one matters. In every moment, we commit ourselves to giving fully of ourselves where needed, and then giving fully to ourselves as well, to be able to create a dynamic life where we have energy, where we can contribute to other people. If we find ourselves in a state where we are so disengaged and depressed over affairs, we really don't have much of ourselves to give to anyone anyway. So this isn't about, pull up the drawbridge, I've got mine. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that whatever we do have, whatever we have by way of friendship, creativity, family, comfort, and joy on all levels, we owe it to ourselves to fully experience that and engage with it and encourage the people around us to engage in theirs as well. Some people have much more to be obviously grateful for at a given time and during this holiday season than others. That is true. And the tables can turn by next holiday season. So life is ephemeral. And the one thing that we can, I think, count on is that there will be challenges and trouble ahead, no matter who we are. It's going to come in some form or another, and ultimately, we won't be here anymore. For some of you may say, yay, that's a blessing. This sucks right now. But I'm saying if you don't, then I'm just making an invitation to all of us to give thanks and completely enjoy what we have been able to create, what we have been able to manifest, what we chose to incarnate into, whatever that may be. And the rest, do what we can, roll our sleeves up, do what we can while we can. And I think that combination is a way to really squeeze the most out of your life and also sleep well at night. The other thing is a purely practical nature. And this, to me, is absolute proof of what I've just talked about here. That joy, when we're experiencing pleasure and when we're experiencing joy, appreciation for what we have and those people around us and life in general, this has a net effect of raising the frequencies of the body. And as a result of that, it also kicks in our healing capacities at a much higher level. Conversely, when we're filled with anxiety, depression, concern, worry, fear, our frequencies are lowered. Our field goes into a lower density. And as a result of that, the blood in our body starts acidifying, and we start experiencing the effects of ill health, for example, or just depleted energy, very little available for us to get through the day. And we've all experienced this plenty. I'm sure you may be experiencing it now. You may know others that are experiencing it now. But that's the effect of worry. The fact is, the world has a lot out there that we can worry about. The fact is also that in one way, over the last few thousand years, we're probably in a better situation than we've been in. These kind of political travails and the ups and downs of the mood swings of nations and so forth have been going on forever. So this isn't anything new. But to attach our own emotional and spiritual wagon to that, I don't think is a good idea. You don't want to take yourself down. You don't want to lower the chances of being able to live a vital life because your immune system is compromised over all of the worry, all the concern, the division, and so forth. So if we look at it from a sheerly pragmatic point of view, the fact that joy uplifts and brings health, vitality, and energy to life, and that worry and despair and concern lowers it, I think that's called the proof in the pudding. We owe it to ourselves to find joy every moment we can. So again, until next time, thank you for joining me here on Regina's Cantina.